tonight, NC State basketball will start the regular season for real against VMI. But tonight it's a preseason tune-up against Mars Hill. We're ready to go from PNC Arena. Thanks for joining us tonight. Now with the lineups and the play-by-play, here's the voice of the Wolfpack, Gary Hahn.
Thanks, Tony. Vic Fenora is in his first full season as the head coach of the Mars Hill Lions. They finished 6-22 last year and 4-18 in their conference, the South Atlantic, which is one of the best Division II leagues in the nation. Here is Coach Fenora's lineup. The point guard will be Jalen Williams, a 6'1 redshirt junior from Clinton, Maryland, a High Point transfer who played in every game for High Point last season, and he was a scorer when he was in junior college. At the shooting guard spot will be 5'10 senior Bennett Williams from Newberry, South Carolina. He averaged 10.3 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists last year. Shot 31% from beyond the arc. Could be the Lions' best player. The small forward is Vernon Jackson, 6'4 junior from Savannah, Georgia. 11.3 points, 4.5 rebounds. Shot 49% for the field. He's the team's #1 returning scorer. Brandon Watkins is the power forward, a 6'6 junior from New Zealand. 5.6 points, 3.6 rebounds. And the center is Nazir Daniel, a true freshman, 6'8", 237 pounds from Fayetteville, North Carolina. For head coach Kevin Keats, his first game ever here in PNC Arena. He's in his first year. The Pack was 15-17 last year under Mark Gottfried, 4-14 in the ACC. Here's Coach Keats' lineup. The point guard will be Markel Johnson, 6'1", 164, a sophomore from Cleveland, Ohio. Last year started the last 3 games of the regular season. Extremely quick slasher, 4 points, 2.3 assists a game. The shooting guard is Al Freeman, a Baylor transfer from Charlotte, North Carolina, 6'3 grad student. Will probably be state's #1 scoring threat on the perimeter. He started 22 games for Baylor last year, averaged 10 points, shot 39% from beyond the arc. The third guard, LeVar Batts, 6'2", a true freshman from Concord, the #1 ranked player in North Carolina and a 4-star recruit. The power forward, 6'6 junior Torrin Dorn, 9.5 points, 4.5 rebounds last year. And Leonard Freeman gets the start at center, 6'8 redshirt senior out of Washington, D.C. Solid rebounder and defender, redshirted last year, recovering from off-season leg surgery. The officials really good. Les Jones, Roger Ayers, Dwayne Gladden. And in the middle, Ayers throws it up as Daniel jumps it up against Leonard Freeman. And Mars Hill wins the first tap. And they will get the first possession, attacking the goal to our right. Out back is Watkins, swings it on the right-hand side to Jackson. Jackson moves it up the sideline, down to the point, picked off by Leonard Freeman. Freeman in a breakaway against Daniels, jams it.
That's what we're talking about, defense producing easy offense. NC State denying all out of the floor. Tremendous ball pressure there.
That time it was Freeman jumping the route. He picked that ball off between the rings, cruised the basket, and jammed it. Now down on the other end, Mars Hill with a wicked pass to the left sideline. Nobody home. They turn it over, and the Pack's got the ball again. So 2 turnovers on 2 possessions for Mars Hill. Pack with the ball. Here's LeVar Batts with it, deep on the right side, middle of the floor to Markel Johnson. Left-hand dribble drive to the left elbow. He stutters steps, goes into the lane, feeds Freeman, middle of the lane, lost the ball. Johnson picks it up, lays it in. Markel Johnson with a basket. It's 4-0. Fast breaking down the floor is Mars Hill. Left-hand layup no good off a pass from Wilson. That layup is by Daniel. The Pack gets it down the floor to Freeman. Quickly for a left wing 3, no good. Follow-up good by Leonard Freeman.
That's Leonard Freeman being Leonard Freeman. Boy, did State miss his offensive rebounding last year.
Jalen Williams up the floor to Watkins, left sideline, knocked away by Dorn, and Watkins gets it back. Feeds the point guard out of Clinton, Maryland, Jalen Williams. Williams guarded by Johnson, left sideline, looking, picks up his dribble. Now to the cutting Watkins, who lays it in over Al Freeman. Watkins gets his first basket. Pack gets it out of the hoop, and quickly a pass to midcourt to Markel Johnson. Markel down the floor from right to left wing to Dorn. Dorn against the man-to-man defense, gets it away to Batts. He started to drive to the foul line and was pushed there by Jalen Williams. That'll be the first foul of the basketball game. So with 18:23 to go, it's 6-2 State as Williams draws that first foul. And the Pack will inbound sideline right. Johnson gets the inbounds pass from Dorn. He's guarded there by Wilson. Here's Markel Johnson off a high screen by Leonard Freeman. He shoots and hits a 3 from deep, almost straight away.
Wilson went underneath that ball screen. Markel took
a steal in the backcourt. Johnson, he picked the pocket of a Mars Hill player, Williams, and laid it in. Now Mars Hill with a quick inbounds pass, and here's Williams bringing it up from left to right. 11-2 State with the early lead. They give it away to Wilson, drives in from the left side, shot blocked. Daniels on the follow, it won't go. Ball tipped outside beyond the arc, right wing, where Wilson picks it up and gives it away to Jalen Williams. 17:43 to go first half, 11-2 State, as Mars Hill's been a turnover machine here early. Here's Williams driving, top of the key in traffic. Is past the post, picked off by Leonard Freeman. Headman pass to Johnson, down the floor to Freeman, back to Dorn, who jams it two-handed. And timeout Mars Hill. The Pack 6 out of 7 shooting to open up this game, and has blown out to a 13-2 lead over the Lions with less than 3 minutes into the first half.
You see right away just how aggressive NC State is defensively, full court press. You know, Mars Hill's done a pretty good job after made baskets of inbounding quickly before NC State could set up one of its presses. But then the Pack just choking off everything in the half court, especially Batts and Markel Johnson. The ball pressure has been tremendous, and the Pack is really doing a nice job of denying all passes on the ball side. And then that forces you to try to make a longer cross-court pass. And when you do that, Leonard Freeman gets in the middle of the floor. He steps in the passing lane, and he comes up with a steal on the very first play of the game. But the ball side denial by NC State right now has been suffocating that, along with ball pressure. And that has caused some Mars Hill turnovers very early in this game.
Pack's got 8 points off turnovers here early as State sprinted out to a 13-2 lead. Markel Johnson so far has 7 of the 13 points. Mars Hill inbounding against the Pack pressure. New man in the ball game is Charles Moore, a 6'1 sophomore out of Conyers, Georgia. Right wing to Justin Hartfield, a new face in the game for Mars Hill. His long pass to the baseline intended for Watkins, knocked out of bounds by Leonard Freeman. 16 to shoot for Mars Hill. 13-2 Wolfpack, 17:15 to go in the first half, as Moore will trigger it in. Baseline right against man pressure by the Pack. Here's Moore looking, having trouble. Now fires it into the backcourt where it's collected there by Wilson. Wilson brings it into the front court, swings it left side to Moore. Moore wanted to feed the post, now drives toward the baseline. Nobody home there, out to Hartfield with 5 to shoot. He'll drive to the elbow, gives it away to Watkins for a corner jumper for 2. No good from the left side. Rebounded by Freeman. Headman pass to Markel Johnson. Markel left wing to Freeman, and it's knocked out of bounds by Charles Moore. He cut right in front of Freeman and deflected that pass out of bounds. 13-2 Wolfpack, 16:54 to go in the first. Here comes Omer Yurtseven in to spell Leonard Freeman for NC State.
Boy, did Leonard Freeman look good first 3 minutes of this game, huh? A couple of steals, 3 rebounds. It's just really the best news NC State could get, having him back and healthy this year.
Welcome back, Leonard. Here's Johnson with the inbounds pass. Takes it top of the key, gives it away to Freeman. Freeman against what looks like a zone defense now by Mars Hill, a 2-3. Now to Freeman, driving left baseline, tried to get it to Yurtseven, went through his hands. Batts has got it. Now right wing to Johnson, to Yurtseven, left elbow jumper, good by Omer Yurtseven. Pack really moving the ball against that defense. 15-2 State. Mars Hill bringing it up from left to right. Here's Charles Moore. Moore, a score first backup point guard, bringing the ball up the floor, gets it across the timeline. 15-2 Wolfpack, 16:18 to go in the first half. Here's Moore driving. Bounce pass on a back door to Wilson. Reverse layup won't go. Rebounded by Freeman, has it raked away by Wilson. Wilson falling down, gets it to Daniels, and then back to Wilson, but he was standing on the baseline. Nazir Daniel had a layup right in front of the hole and decided to pass it to his 5'10 teammate who was standing on the baseline. Another Mars Hill turnover. And now we have a new face in the game for NC State. 6'2 grad student Sam Hunt out of Greensboro. Very good shooter. Started 30 games at North Carolina A&T and led that team in scoring at almost 13 points a game. Pack working it around the perimeter. Here's LeVar Batts behind the arc left wing. Yurtseven screens. Bat takes it to the point. Batts on drive. Batts driving down the lane. Throws one up off the hole, off the hoop, no good. Rebounded by Yurtseven to Dorn. Jump step inside, jams it. Dorn got that pass from Yurtseven and knew what to do with it. Here comes Mars Hill the other way. Down 17-2 early. 15.5 minutes to go first half. With a basketball, it's Justin Hartfield out of Evans, Georgia. Probably Mars Hill's best scoring threat, but he has not scored yet in this game. Here is Moore driving the lane, throws one up over Yurt 7. Wild shot, no good. Rebound, Daniel back up and missed it. Tips in his own miss. Nazir Daniel gets just the second hoop for Mars Hill as the Pack throws a length of the floor pass to Al Freeman. Freeman went right to the hole, right side of the lane. His shot was no good, but he'll go to the line for 2 as we've got a foul and a timeout. 15:07 left, first half. It's all NC State over the Mars Hill Lions. The Wolfpack 17, the Lions 4. Timeout on the floor. We'll take it with them. This is State basketball on the Wolfpack Sports Network.
It's a case of the Wolfpack generating a lot of easy offense from its pressure defense. It's been a high-energy, disruptive defensive approach for NC State thus far that has forced 5 Mars Hill turnovers, and NC State, all of them have been live ball turnovers, by the way, and NC State has scored on each of those turnovers. Peck has 10 points off of those 5 turnovers, most resulting in dunks or layups, and it's been a great showing by NC State defensively early in this game.
The Mars Hill foul before the timeout is whistled on 6'6" junior Brandon Watkins out of New Zealand, and Al Freeman goes to the line for 2. Back with 2 players with the last name Freeman, Leonard and Alaric, and they just call him Al. He misses the first free throw. He started 22 games for Baylor last season, averaged almost 10 points, and shot just about 40% from the arc. Second free throw goes down for Al Freeman. Mars Hill inbounds the ball. Trapped is Moore, but he gets the pass up the floor to Hartsfield, that throws it away. Batts with a pickoff. Batts sideline left. Batts goes to the basket. Left-hand layup, good.
State forced that turnover with a 1-2-1-1 full court press, and here it is again.
And the inbounds pass this time goes to Bennett Wilson. He gets it away to Moore, and Moore will break the press on the dribble drive down the floor. He gets it away to Jackson, who misses the dunk. Actually was blocked by Yurt 7, and the loose ball picked up by Sam Hunt. Hunt, the Bats, drives the lane, throws up a wild shot. Down he goes. We've got a whistle and a foul, and it's going against Mars Hill. I believe it'll be against Bennett Wilson. That'll be his first and the team's third. This will send lightning quick LeVar Batts to the foul line for 2. The number 1 ranked high school player in North Carolina last year, a 4-star recruit. He's North Carolina's all-time public school scoring leader, 2,174 points. Here's the free throw, up, in and out, no good.
And boy, does he fit in perfectly with this system. I mean, he is aggressive 100% of the time. He doesn't take a second off when he's out on the basketball court. You see him with a quick first step, a lot of straight line drives to the rim. He is fearless on the offensive end of the floor and very energetic on the other end.
Bat's second free throw is good. And into the ball game now for Mars Hill. Matthew Powell, a 6'1" junior from Charlotte, is checked in, and Bennett Wilson leaves the lineup. Markel Johnson back in for State. Having trouble inbounding is Moore against the pressure, and he throws it in to a new face in the game, Jared Evans, a 6'7" redshirt freshman out of Charlotte, but backup center. He couldn't handle it in the corner. It went off his hands. It's another Mars Hill turnover.
That time they changed up the press. It was man pressure. They were denying all over the floor, and they couldn't get the ball inbounds cleanly.
Darius Hicks is now in the game for State. He gets the inbounds pass, top of the key, hands it away to Markel Johnson. 7 Lion turnovers. In 2-3 zone. Here's Hicks firing for 3, left wing over top of the zone, no good. Rebound inside to Freeman. He drives to the right wing and shoots and hits a fadeaway from the right baseline. Al Freeman's first basket, his first 2 points. Mars Hill coming quickly the other way with Moore driving all the way to the foul line and then clearing it out to Powell. Moore gets it right back, and Mars Hill will set up its offense. Pressure, man-to-man defense. The Pack extending it here against Mars Hill. Here's Hartsfield at the foul line. In the corner for a 3-ball. Good from the left side by Matthew Powell. Powell is a solid JC veteran transfer, counted on to be kind of a settling influence for Mars Hill. It's 23-7 Wolfpack. And Mars Hill needs to settle down. 2-3 zone. Here's Hunt with it, left wing. Gets it to Markel Johnson with 17 to shoot. Yurt 7 screens. Let's see if Markel uses it. He does not. Markel Johnson straight away with 10 to shoot. Lob inside to yard 7. He lays it in.
Yeah, just snuck in behind the back line of that zone, and they're undersized down there in the baseline of that zone defense.
Against the pressure, Hartsfield breaks it. He blows by Freeman into the front court, sideline left, in low to Evans. Hook shot up, no good. Follow up by Jackson, partially blocked, picked up by Darius Hicks. Hicks midcourt pass to Hunt. Here comes State. Hunt down the floor, gets it away to Freeman. Freeman top of the key. Now outside for a long bomb for 3, good by Sam Hunt. Hunt from deep on the right side, and it's 28-7 Wolfpack. 12:55 to go in the first. Here comes Mars Hill with the basketball. Here's Matthew Powell with it, sideline left. Clears it out back to Charles Moore. Moore, the backup point guard against Sam Hunt. Pack really extending its defense. Here's Hunt, stops, top of the key, backdoor pass inside to Hartsfield. His shot blocked away by Yurtseven, picked up by Al Freeman, and here comes State from right to left. Here's Freeman, sideline left, into the front court against the 2-3 zone. Whips it down low to Yurtseven, hook shot up, missed it. And a rebound picked off by Vernon Jackson from Mars Hill. Outlet to Powell, now away to Moore. Moore, top of the key, blows by Freeman, stops and pops and hits.
Yurtseven almost blocked that one. He's been a human eraser thus far. He's got 3 blocks, but that one just got over his outstretched arm.
28-9, State with the ball in the lead. Here's Johnson, long pass left wing behind the arc to Freeman. Left baseline to Darius Hicks. Drives, fires one off, hard off the window, no good, and he's hammered. And he'll go to the line for 2. The foul is on Jared Evans for Mars Hill. That'll be the 4th Mars Hill team foul. Pack has not fouled in this game. 12:02 to go in the first. 28-9 Wolfpack as Darius Hicks will go to the line for 2. Hicks played limited minutes last season, and it looks, Tony, like he's lost some weight.
Yep. Well, due to all the running that this team has done going back to the spring, you're going to lose some weight. Assume if you're eating right. And, you mentioned that NC State's not been called for a foul. It's one thing to play hard on defense. It's another thing entirely to play hard without fouling. And that can be very difficult to do. And that shows you that NC State has played hard and intense on the defensive end of the floor, but done so in the right way.
Hicks makes both free throws. Leonard Freeman and Torrin Dorn check in for State. Alaric Freeman and Omer Yurtseven will sit down. Now Shad Kirk is coming into the game for the Wolfpack as well.
Man pressure again. They're trying to deny on the inbounds.
Ball goes into Hartsfield. And Hartfield will throw it up across the timeline. Vernon Jackson gets it deep on the right side, guarded by Dorn, and the Pack pressure man-to-man. Now he gives it away to Powell. Powell drives on Sam Hunt. There's contact as it gets to the right side of the lane. And I believe we're going to have a foul on Hunt. That will be the call from Dwayne Gladden. That's the Pack's first foul of the basketball game, and it brings us to another timeout. 11:50 to play, first half. The only exhibition game for the Pack in this preseason here in 2017-2018. Our score with 11:50 to go in the first. It's the Wolfpack 30, the Mars Hill Lions 9. This is State basketball on the Wolfpack Sports Network.
Ever disruptive on the defensive end of the court. The Pack has forced 7 Mars Hill turnovers. Pack has scored 14 points off those turnovers. How about this? NC State 14 points after turnovers, 0 for Mars Hill. So it's been about defense so far for NC State. And then not only the turnovers, but protecting the bucket. The Pack bigs, especially Omer Yurtseven, doing a good job there. Yurtseven with 3 blocks.
Mars Hill, the inbound baseline right. Moore will shove it in to Powell on the right wing. Drives to the top of the key. Now away to Hartfield, and Moore gets the basketball back at the point. Drives to his right against lightning quick LeVar Batts to the high post, and Daniel backdoor pass for a left-hand layup. Good by Hartfield. That's his first basket.
Sometimes when you're overplaying, you'll get caught on that one. That was excellent execution there. Markel Johnson out in the passing lane. He got backdoored.
30-11. Wolfpack with the ball in the lead. Markel Johnson off a Freeman screen. Drives the lane. Kicks it to Dorn left wing. Can't get off a 3. He'll drive. Spins and fires up a turnaround near the middle of the lane. No good. Freeman on the follow. His shot blocked away. And a foul inside on Mars Hill. That'll be against Matthew Powell. That'll be his first, team's 5th. And this will send Leonard Freeman to the foul line. Leonard with 2 baskets for 4 points tonight. He'll go to the line for 2. Solid rebounder, defender. You can count on Leonard Freeman for probably 7 to 8 rebounds a game this season. Here's the first free throw up and in.
Yeah, and a lot of them usually, in the past, if Freeman had an 8 or 9 rebound game, usually half of them were offensive rebounds. He gets you those elusive second shots. And he has that great feel of where that ball is going to come off the rim, and he just attacks the basketball. That time they had him boxed out, but he still managed to get the rebound.
Freeman's second free throw, no good. Sean Kirk tips it out, but it's picked up by Vernon Jackson from Mars Hill. Headman pass to Hartfield. Now away to Moore, top of the key, drives the foul line, up with the jumper, good. Charles Moore with his second basket. It's 31-13. Pack has the ball in the lead. Here's Johnson behind the arc left wing. Johnson driving against the double team. Kicks across court to Bats for three. No good from the right wing. Dorn tips it outside to Johnson for a new shot clock for State. Here's Johnson feeding the post. Cutting in front is Nazir Daniel. And we have a whistle and a foul on the Mars Hill center. The 6'8 freshman out of Fayetteville commits his first, team sixth.
Yeah, Leonard Freeman ducking in strong in the middle of the lane that time. He really forced Wilkerson to get around and foul him. Leonard Freeman's strength and power, a little too much for some of these Mars Hill bigs who are slightly built.
Kirk out and Al Freeman back in now for State. That was a foul on the floor, no shooting. And so the Pack will inbound with 25 on the shot clock. Baseline left, 31-13 NC State. To check it, Markel Johnson will throw it in and gets it away to Bats. Bats, left wing, drives around Hartsfield, stops and pops and shoots a bank shot, no good. Gets his own rebound, tried to put it back up, raked away out of bounds off of Mars Hill. And so State will inbound just to the left of its own basket again. 31-13 Pack, 10:39 to go, first half. Here in this exhibition game at PNC Arena. Johnson to trigger it in. Johnson looking, gets it to Dorn, left side of the lane. Dorn on the dribble, kicks it out to Freeman. Reverses it on the right side to Bats, 22 to shoot. Bats backs it out. Now he'll drive into the corner to Johnson for three, out of the right wing, no good. And the rebound pulled down by Vernon Jackson for Mars Hill. Here's Jackson trying to bring the ball up the floor, gets it away to Moore under pressure, drives the lane and tried a backdoor pass right behind the cutting Nazir Daniel. It whizzes out of bounds, and that's the 8th turnover of the first half for the Mars Hill Lions. Pack so far has scored 14 points off those turnovers. Let's see if State can get a couple more here. Johnson into the front court, guarded by Hartsfield. Johnson driving off a Freeman screen, kicks it to Dorn for three, left wing, and it's off the rim, no good. Rebounded right there by Luke Van Ryn out of Australia. Clears it to Moore. Moore into the front court. No pressure there by the Wolfpack. No time for any pressure. Hartfield gets the ball, drives underneath to Daniel, and a good drive and dish. Layup good by Daniel. And timeout State, as Kevin Keats unhappy with the defense right there. 9:50 to go in the first. This is a teaching moment for the first-year head coach of the Pack. 31-15, State leads Mars Hill.
Yeah, not happy with the defensive rotation. Markel Johnson got beat off the dribble, and then Leonard Freeman had to come across and help. And when he did, he left Daniel wide open on the weak side of the floor. A little bounce pass and a dunk. And, you know, sometimes when you overplay like that, you're going to get beat off the dribble a few times. You're going to get backdoored occasionally. But over the course of a basketball game, you figure that pressure is not only going to wear your opponent down, but as we've seen, you're going to force some turnovers and get some easy offense out of that. And that's kind of been the story of this game thus far. I think right now that Coach Keats would like to see his team be a little more efficient in the half court. They've played some 2-3 zone. They've also played some man-to-man. Remember, most of the offenses come off the defense thus far.
Pack's missed its last 6 shots. Mars Hill's hit its last 4. Mars Hill on an 8-3 run since the last time out. Here's Markel Johnson, sideline right, has it raked away by Charles Moore out of bounds near the Mars Hill bench. So the Pack will re-inbound. Dorn gets it away to Johnson, 22 to shoot. Johnson guarded by Charles Moore. Here's Dorn with a high screen. Gets it to Johnson, back to the screener. Dorn drives the foul line up for the jump shot, missed it. And the rebound pulled down by Vernon Jackson. 31-15, State leads. Mars Hill trying to chip away at this lead, which was all the way up to 21 with 12:58 to go. And now it's down to 16, 9:20 remaining in the half. Here's Moore blowing in from the left side underneath to the cutting Van Ryn, I should say, and the layup is good. 9:09 remaining, first half, and it's 31-17. As Markel Johnson has it for State. Right wing cross courts it to Al Freeman. Freeman gets it right elbow to Dorn, back to Freeman. Open left wing, fires for three, got it. Al Freeman with his 3rd point of the night, 34-17 Wolfpack. That broke that run of Mars Hill. 8:43 to go. Here's a pass into the post, picked off by Leonard Freeman. Down the floor to Markel Johnson. Leaves it off for Al Freeman. He lays it in. And the Pack's lead is up to 36-17 with 8.5 minutes to go.
And it was Johnson who caused that turnover. He backwashed the guard who had gotten by him and tipped it right to Leonard Freeman, who returned it to him in the front court.
Hartfield drives right wing. Gets it right of the lane to Watkins. Watkins has it raked away by Leonard Freeman, who then throws it off of Watkins off the right baseline and out of bounds. It'll belong to the Pack. It's another Lions turnover.
Now State's going to go big. They got Freeman and Yurtseven in the game at the same time. I think it's the first time we've seen this combination. So let's see if NC State goes right to the post. You can be guaranteed these two bigs are going to set some ball screens here in the sequence.
That's Al Freeman and Johnson are the other players for State. Markel Johnson in the front court, left wing pass, goes to Al Freeman. He rejects a ball screen, drives into the lane, kicks it for a Bats for a three-pointer out of the right corner, no good. And Yurtseven tried for the rebound. I think he came over the back of a Mars Hill player. That is the call. That'll be his first foul, team's second. And that stops the clock with 8:03 to go in the half. 36-17 Wolfpack. Into the game, Jalen Williams, the starting point guard. He started, then went out early, and this is the first time he's come back. Here's a pass, a bad pass in the backcourt, picked off by Markel Johnson. He lays it in. So Johnson now with 9 points. Mars Hill inbounds. Another deflection to the backcourt. Johnson comes up with the ball. Hooks it past the Bats. Drives left baseline. Up for the layup. Missed it. And we've got a whistle and a foul on Mars Hill. Pack super aggressive, especially in the backcourt. Mars Hill's now turned it over unofficially 13 times. That foul was on Watkins of Mars Hill, his second, team seventh. So the Pack will be in the 1-and-1, but going to the foul line when we come back for two at the free throw line will be LeVar Bats. Timeout here at PNC Arena. 7:48 to go, first half. It's NC State 38, Mars Hill 17. Exhibition basketball tonight on the Wolfpack Sports Network.
With Gary Hahn, Tony Haynes back at PNC Arena. And so far so good for NC State. Exhibition game against Mars Hill. NC State has been just absolutely smothering at times on defense, both on the full court and half court levels. Pack has forced 10 turnovers right now, 7 steals for NC State. And we'll have to check on this. Markel Johnson, he's probably got about half of those steals. He may have 3 or 4 steals early in this game. He's seen teams love to get to the foul line, Gary, and here's why. Because you get to the free throw line, LeVar Bats up there now. If he makes the second one, just gives you that much more time to set up your pressure.
Bats foul before the timeout, goes to the line to shoot 2 free throws. He makes the first one, so he now has 4 points on 2 free throws and a field goal. Here's the second one on the way. It rims out, no good, and with a rebound is Daniel for Mars Hill. This time, no pressure by the Wolfpack. As point guard Jalen Williams brings it up the floor from left to right. Williams deep on the left side, guarded by Al Freeman. 17 to shoot. Williams drives against Freeman to the basket. Layup good. First basket for Jalen Williams, who played at High Point last season. It's 39-19. Pack's lead at 20. 7:20 to go. Markel Johnson, sideline right, gets it to an open Yurtseven, fires for 3, deep right wing, off the rim, no good. Fight for the rebound, it's loose inside, they scrum for it, deflected outside, picked up by Bats, laying on the floor, deflected to Yurtseven at the foul line. Now to Freeman to Bats, Bats left wing, driving, kicks it outside to Freeman. against the Mars Hill zone defense. Now right wing to Freeman. Drives right baseline. Reverse layup. Good by Al Freeman. Freeman's hit his last 4 shots, and it's 41-19. 6:47 remaining. State with the lead. Mars Hill with the ball. Here's Van Ryn driving the lane. Kicks it on the right wing to a new face in the game. Cody Hilton, a 3-point shooter. Hilton gets it away to Hartsfield, who drives right to the lane. Tries to throw up a runner. Blocked away and a foul.
I think it may be a bump on him. Markel Johnson there on the way to the basket.
Foul is on Markel Johnson, his first, team's third, and going to the line is Justin Hartfield out of Evans, Georgia. He was all South Atlantic Conference all-freshman last season, kind of a lefty combo guard, and he gets the first free throw.
Still pretty impressive for NC State right now at this juncture. You've got 6:36 to go in the first half, and the Pack, even pressing at a full court level and playing so aggressively on defense, has only committed 3 team fouls. Pretty good.
Van Ryn out. Vernon Jackson back in for Mars Hill. As Mars Hill sophomore guard Justin Hartfield unloads the second free throw. It's off the back iron, no good. Yurtseven rebounds for State. Midcourt pass to Markel Johnson, sideline right. Johnson into the front court, gets a high screen from Yurtseven, drives the foul line underneath to the cutting Yurtseven, and he lays it in.
Beautiful pick and roll. That's about as good as it gets.
Here's a length to the floor pass all the way down the floor to Daniel. His layup is blocked by Yurtseven. Loose ball picked up on the side by Hartsfield near the baseline. He puts it up. Shot blocked away. Did they call goaltending? No. They called, I think, ball out of bounds.
Yeah, out of bounds on NC State. Yurtseven, boy, he just looks like a different guy out there. More aggressive, much more comfortable. Already 4 blocked shots in this game.
So when Yurtseven was standing at the baseline, when he rejected that shot for the second time, it's out of bounds to Mars Hill with 25 to shoot. They get it in the corner to Daniels. Back to the inbounder Williams. Back to Daniels on a give and go for a 2-hand jam.
Yeah, that's a beautiful inbounds pass. Little dribble handoff off the inbounds pass, and then the big who set the screen rolls right to the bucket.
Back of the front court with Al Williams. Al Williams sideline left behind the arc away to Markel Johnson. Johnson top of the key. 2-3 zone by Mars Hill, 19 to shoot. Here's Johnson left wing to Freeman. Open, pulls the trigger for 3. Off the back iron, no good. Tipped out by Yurtseven, but picked up by Jackson for Mars Hill. Jackson started to have ideas to go to the basket. He was tripped from behind, I believe, by Markel Johnson. Check that. Al Freeman gets the foul. His first, team's 4th. And it's a foul on the floor. Checking out Cody Hilton, who was just in there briefly for Mars Hill, and Justin Hartfield. Back in as Charles Moore and Bennett Wilson, a couple of guards for the Lions. So they are really small right now. The only big on the floor is Daniel for Mars Hill. 5:49 to go in the first. 43-22 Wolfpack. Mars Hill inbounding. And here is Moore with it deep on the left side. Sam Hunt now back in the game for NC State. He's guarding Charles Moore between the rings. 16 to shoot. 5:37 left in the first half. Here is Moore off a high screen. Still dribbling the basketball. Now cuts down the lane. Throws a pass. It's deflected. Daniels gets it. Tries to scoop to the hoop. Missed it. And a foul.
They've had success with that horns high set. 2 of their bigs flash up high. Point guard has a choice, an option on going off the ball screen on either side of the lane. It's probably been their best offensive set early in this game, and Mars Hill's created some problems with that.
Sam Hunt with a foul, his second, team's 5th. And at the line is Nazir Daniel, the true freshman out of Fayetteville, and he bricks the first free throw. He picked Mars Hill over Air Force. He's Mars Hill's really only back to the basket scorer. Pretty good shot blocker, and he's obviously pretty green with a lot of potential, but he's definitely got a big body. And for that Division II conference, the South Atlantic Conference, he should be a good player. Second free throw, no good. It went to the left baseline where it was deflected out of bounds off Mars Hill. It'll belong to the Pack. 43-22, 5:24 remaining in the half. Darius Hicks is now in the ball game. Hill inbound against full court pressure by Mars Hill, and the pass is kicked away by Williams. So we'll try it again. 43-22 Wolfpack. Pack's led by as many as 21 points in this game 3 times, pardon me. 5:21 remaining. Here's Batts bringing it up the floor against double teaming pressure. Clears it to Freeman, sideline left, out of Yurtseven at the foul line. Yurtseven holds, gives back to Freeman. Yurtseven screens. Freeman puts the ball on the floor, moving screen by Yurtseven, and they're going to get him with that one. Even I could figure that one out. Second foul on Yurtseven. That'll be the 16th foul on NC State. 5:07 to go in the half, 43-22 Wolfpack.
Yeah, he kind of stuck his rear end out, and right in the middle of the floor, you're not going to get away with that one.
Charles Moore with the inbounds pass. Batts will pick him up. No full court pressure or any trapping yet by State. Moore off a high screen by Daniel, drives to the top of the key, stops. Now he's bothered by Batts, gets it away to Jackson, open, fires for three, left wing no good. Al Freeman with a rebound for State. Freeman on the dribble drive. Freeman all the way down the floor. He palmed it as he got to the foul line. So Freeman turns it over. The Pack does not have very many turnovers here in the first half, just two. Check that, three. Conversely, Mars Hill has turned the basketball over a bunch.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. You consider the number of possessions and the pace of this game.
Mars Hill breaks the Wolfpack pressure. Here's Jackson in the front court, sideline right, 4:41 remaining. Hands off to Moore. Jackson screens. Moore doesn't use it. Pulls it back out to the point with 19 to shoot against State's extended man-to-man defense. Here's Moore driving into the lane. Stops, pops, window, no good. Rebounded by Leonard Freeman. Freeman, midcourt pass to Sam Hunt. Hunt sideline right into the front court. 24 to shoot. Here's Hunt driving to the right wing. Up for the jumper, off the dribble, no good. And it's pulled down by Vernon Jackson. Jackson quickly to Williams, the point guard. Williams all the way to the basket. Floats it up over Leonard Freeman. Missed the shot. Rebounded there by Al Freeman for State. Freeman brings it up the floor. Shovels at the Batts right wing. Cuts the basket. Tried to shovel a pass inside to Leonard Freeman. There was contact. Down went Vernon Jackson to Mars Hill. And we've got a charge on LeVar Batts. That'll be his first and State's seventh team foul, and we have a timeout here at PNC Arena. 4 minutes to go first half. All Wolfpack, 43-22 over Mars Hill in the only exhibition game this season for the Wolfpack. Timeout on the floor. We'll take it with them. This is State basketball on the Wolfpack Sports Network.
Four minutes to go in the opening half. NC State, Mars Hill Pack up 43-22. State has shot 53% here in the opening half, but has cooled off after a torrid start. State was 12 of its first 15. Since then, the Pack has made just 5 of 17. What's changed is Mars Hill stopped turning the ball over. They have 11 turnovers, but they've done a much better job hanging on the ball, forcing NC State to run a little bit more half-court offense instead of getting out and running after turnovers.
There's Mars Hill with a baseball pass linked to the floor, intending for Jackson. It's over his head and out of bounds. So the pressure forces another turnover. The officials have 11 turnovers in this game, but I got at least 14 now. So I think this pace of play is affecting the scorers table and the folks who are running the computer tonight.
It could be affecting you possibly.
Well,
too,
maybe I'm just too keyed up for turnovers.
Well,
could be.
Here, Gary, because that ball did not touch anybody on that long inbounds pass, State will inbound underneath its own bucket.
You're right. And they'll go baseline right. Here's Johnson getting it to Dorn. Dorn lost it. Has to go all the way back to midcourt to pick it up to Al Freeman. Right wing to Markel Johnson. Now outside to Freeman. Top of the key for three. Missed it. Rebounded by Freeman. He tipped it. Loose ball on the floor. And coming out of there with it is Williams, the point guard for Mars Hill. Baseballs it down the floor to Daniels and knocking the ball right out of his hands. on a nice play was Leonard Freeman. He cut right in front of that pass just like a defensive back against a wide receiver, knocked it out of bounds.
That's a big defensive back, man.
And Leonard Freeman is...
he's moving great, too, isn't he?
He's got a bigger wingspan than most corners, too. 43-22 Wolfpack, 3:43 to go first half. Here's Moore to inbound, baseline right, gets it right to the lane to Daniels, curls on Freeman. He lays it up, got it. Tough shot by the true freshman out of Fayetteville, Nazir Daniel, and it's 43-24. Markel Johnson in the front court for State from right to left. Behind the arc, left wing, pounding the rock. Now he's going to blow to the basket. He shoots a runner, glass and good. Markel Johnson with 11 points here in the first half, and it's 45-24, 3:19 remaining. Here's Williams with a long pass down the floor to Jackson. Jackson left baseline, goes to the hole, shoots a shot over Freeman, no good. Freeman with a rebound. Outlet pass midcourt to Sam Hunt. Hunt drives all the way to the right baseline, shut off, gets it to Johnson. Down the corner to Al Freeman. Freeman drives, top of the key to Johnson. Johnson driving down the lane, underneath to Leonard Freeman, he jams it. Nice one-handed pass there by Markel Johnson. 6
assists for him in the ball game now, so he's been busy on the defensive end with the steals, and he's also setting up his teammates.
47-24 State, 2:42 to go. It's State's biggest lead of the half. Here's Moore, lob inside for Jackson. Missed the dunk. Loose ball, saved in bounds by Freeman in the corner to Sam Hunt. Hunt will bring it up sideline right. Hunt gets it away to Al Freeman, starts to drive travel. Only the 4th turnover for State here in the half, as checking into the ball game, Matthew Powell for Mars Hill. And let's see who's going to lead. Somebody's got to go. And it's going to be Bennett Wilson. On the floor for State, the 2 Freemans, Johnson, Dorn, and Hunt. Here's the inbounds pass with backcourt pressure, and finally getting it in is Moore. He taps it ahead to Williams. Williams across the timeline into the corner for a long bomb 3 from the left corner. Good by Vernon Jackson, his first basket. 47-27. Packs lead back down to 20 again with 2:14 to go. Here's a long pass down the floor to Sam Hunt. Right corner 3, good. Sam Hunt's second 3 of the game. That's his specialty. He can shoot the 3. And it's 49-27 Wolfpack. 2 minutes to go here in the first half. Williams across the timeline for Mars Hill from right to left. Pass on the wing, picked off by Markel Johnson. Markel on a breakaway and swiping the ball from behind, knocking it away is Williams. But he also got part of the body. And 2 free throws are coming up here for Markel Johnson. That was a good job by Williams to close, because I thought Markel was going to get a fast break layup or a dunk there.
Yeah, and again, Markel Johnson really active at the top of the NC State defense. And he's going to have quite a stat sheet before this game is over. Even if he doesn't score another point. He's already scored 11 points, but he's got the 7 assists that we talked about. And I'm going to venture a guess, we'll see it at halftime. He's probably got 4 or 5 steals in this opening half. Tremendous first half across the board by Markel Johnson.
Jackson out, Watkins in for Mars Hill. Here is Markel Johnson's second free throw. Good, he made them both. 13 points for Johnson. And it's now 52-27 Wolfpack, 1:50 remaining in the first half. Moore bringing it up slowly against lightning quick Markel Johnson. They bump just beyond midcourt. And maintaining the dribble is Moore with 16 to shoot. Moore picks up his dribble. That's a dangerous thing to do. Now he gets it away to Watkins, back to Moore, 10 to shoot. Moore deep on the left side, blows to the basket. Bounce pass underneath to Daniels. Fakes, fires it up, and it rolls in. Daniel with a point-blank shot inside. He's got 10 points for Mars Hill to lead the scoring parade for the Lions. 52-29 Pack, 1:20 to go. Here's Johnson off a screen by Leonard Freeman. Throws back to the screener. Bad pass. Leonard picks it off, gives it to Johnson. Left corner to Dorn. Dorn drives left baseline. Outside to Johnson. Cross-court skip pass to Hunt. Hunt with 14. Al Freeman. Freeman with 14 to shoot. Now will drive the lane. Left-hand layup off the glass and good. He spun it in. Freeman with 10. And the Pack's hit its last 4 shots, and it's 54-29, 53 seconds remaining. Here's Moore bringing it up the floor from left to right. And no pressure by the Wolfpack until he gets into the front court. Now he picks up his dribble. Left wing, got it to Powell. Fakes left, goes right down the lane. Runner up, no good. Rebounded by Leonard Freeman. Outlet to Johnson. Johnson sideline right. Cross court to the Hunt. 3 ball on the way. Off the rim, no good. Fight for the rebound. And I think we got a push on Dorn. Trying to go for the rebound. Or is it against Mars Hill? Let's see.
It's against Powell.
going against Matthew Powell. You're right, Tony. That's I got 9 team fouls now on the Lions.
Torrin Dorn, a very good rebounder. We saw that at times last year. He was especially a weapon when he get a defensive board, and he can take it the other way himself. He doesn't even have to make an outlet pass because he has such a good handle. That time an offensive rebound for Dorn.
Dorn misses the 1-and-1. Rebound pulled down by Vernon Jackson. Here comes Mars Hill, down 54-29. 27 seconds left in the half. Shot clock at 20. Here's Williams with it, deep left. Gets it in the corner to Vernon Jackson, out of control, lost the ball. It whizzes out of bounds. I don't think it touched anybody.
Then Markel got it.
He did?
Yeah, I think Markel Johnson got a hand on it.
Markel says no.
Well, they can't decide. They're going to call held ball, and that means NC State will get possession. So that's a little bit of a break.
So the Pack will get it for the last 15.5 seconds of the half, leading 54-29. Good first half for Markel Johnson, unofficially 13 points. Inbounds goes to Markel. 12, 11, 10. Clock ticking down. Johnson deep on the right side, guarded by Moore. 6, 5, 4. Here's Johnson, blows past him down the lane, lays it up off the glass. No. Rebounded by Leonard Freeman. Can't get the shot off before the horn, and that is the half. A half dominated by NC State. 54-29. The halftime score. The Pack came out, and the pressure really bothered the Mars Hill Lions. And all of a sudden, before you could snap your finger, the Pack had 10 points off 5 Mars Hill turnovers and led by 15 points, 17-2, less than 5 minutes into the half, and it kind of stayed that way, Tony.
Yeah, 21 points off of 14 turnovers. That's the story of the first half, many of them coming over the first 10 minutes. Mars Hill did a little bit better job of valuing the basketball over the last several minutes, and that forced NC State to run a little bit more half-court offense. But, boy, when NC State had that, it is halftime indeed from PNC Arena, our first basketball broadcast of the year. Exhibition contest tonight between NC State and Mars Hill. And I think the fans here at PNC Arena have been thrilled by what they've seen in the opening half. NC State with really smothering defense on a full-court level, forcing 14 Mars Hill turnovers. NC State converted those turnovers into 21 points. In fact, you look at the category of points off turnovers, Pack with a decided edge, 21-3, because NC State only turned the ball over 5 times. That's pretty impressive when you get into a high-octane game like this with a lot of possessions, a lot of shots going up. NC State took 39 shots in the first half. So when you get going back and forth in a game like this, a lot of touches, a lot of possessions, to keep it at 5 turnovers in one half of basketball, especially this early in the season, it's pretty good work by NC State. I thought the star of the first half for NC State was Markel Johnson. All across the board, he was excellent. 13 points on 5 of 7 shooting, 7 assists, no turnovers, and 4 steals in the opening 20 minutes for Markel Johnson, who played 17 minutes. This is another encouraging stat. Johnson and LeVar Batts, between them, only had 1 turnover in the opening 20 minutes. So that's 2 young guards who are handling the basketball a lot, and both of them did a good job of taking care of the ball. As we mentioned, 5 turnovers in the half for NC State. Leonard Freeman, you know, everybody's eager to see him back. He didn't play last year after undergoing surgery on his shin for a second consecutive year. And Leonard looked great. He's in great shape. He was moving around the court beautifully. And he rebounded the ball like he always does. Leonard, 8 rebounds, 7 points. He also had 3 steals. The other guy I thought that looked great and better at any time than he did last year was Omer Yurtseven. Much more comfortable on the floor. 6 points, 3 rebounds. He had 4 blocks. And so that's an encouraging sign as well for NC State. So good first half for the Pack. It is 54-29. State leading Mars Hill. We'll have more from PNC Arena on the other side of this break. You're listening to the Wolfpack Sports Network.
All right. We will do a station ID in this segment. Probably at the end of the segment.
Here at the half, NC State leading 54-29 over Mars Hill. Let's take a look inside the numbers, brought to you by CPI Security. Protection you can count on, conveniences you will love. NC State shot almost 54% from the field. The Pack was 21 of 39, 4 of 14 from three-point range, 8 of 13 from the charity stripe. Mars Hill at 42% of its shots. Lions were at 13 of 31, 2 of 3 from long range, and 1 of 4 from the charity stripe. NC State pretty much dominated the boards, 24-17 rebounding advantage overall. Pack also had 10 offensive rebounds for 9 second chance points. State did a good job of taking care of the ball in a high octane game and forced turnovers. Mars Hill 14 first half turnovers, and boy did the Pack punish them for those giveaways. 21 points off of turnovers for NC State. Taking a look at the individual scoring, a pair of double-figure scores for the Pack. Markel Johnson, 13 points, 7 assists, no turnovers, 4 steals. He was great. Al Freeman had 12 points, 6 rebounds. Freeman, 5 of 9 from the field. Leonard Freeman, a strong first half, 7 points, 8 boards. For Freeman, 1 assist. He had 3 steals in the opening half. Omer Yurtseven with 6 points, 3 rebounds, 4 blocks for the big guy. Sam Hunt finished with 6. Torndorn, 4 points. And LeVar Batts had 4 points. Batts couldn't quite find the range in the opening half. He was 1 of 6 from the field. One double-figure score for Mars Hill. That would be Nasser Daniel. He had 10 points and 4 rebounds. Today's second half tools to victory are brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina. They have tools to make healthcare easy. I think NC State's going to win this game. But now I think it'll be interesting, Gary, to see how long NC State can sustain this defensive pressure. Boy, the Pack came out with incredible energy at the beginning of the game. I think it's humanly impossible, no matter how good a shape you're in, to sustain that level for an entire ball game, especially you got a short bench tonight. But let's see if NC State comes in the first 5 minutes here and kind of tries to throw that knockout punch with its defense. And then I think, secondly, for the Pack, you'd love to see some shots going in from the perimeter. Pack was just 4 of 14 for the three-point line, and maybe a little bit better execution on the half-court end when they're forced to run half-court offense. And we've seen in many years for a lot of teams, that's kind of the last thing to come is half-court execution with your offense. But that's something to keep an eye on here in the second half. From finding a doctor to a 24-hour nurse line, Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina has the tools to make health care easy. So we are ready to roll here in the second half.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what kind of combinations Kevin Keats comes up with in the second half, whether we'll see 2 bigs more in the game or the small lineup. Mars Hill obviously doesn't have a lot of size. Their biggest player is 6'8" Nazir Daniel, who had a good first half with 10 points. He's a true freshman, kind of green, but you can see this kid's got a lot of potential. About 240 pounds on that 6'8" frame. Mars Hill coming out with Powell to start the second half. Matthew Powell, Charles Moore, Daniel, who we just mentioned, Justin Hartfield, and Vernon Jackson. In the Pack with Markel Johnson, LeVar Batts, Yurtseven, Dorn, and Al Freeman. Mars Hill inbounds the ball. They'll get the first possession of the second half, attacking the goal to our left. Here is Powell with a basketball, left wing, starts to drive, kicks it out to Jackson with 18 to shoot. Jackson between the rings, crossover dribble, drives down the lane, lost it. It's off his thigh and out of bounds, says Dwayne Gladden. And Mars Hill turns it over for the 15th time. I've got the official score just had 14. And Howard Bob's got 17. So I guess we'll go with the official score. That was a 15th, 54-29 Wolfpack. Here's Johnson, right wing. Whistle blows away from the basketball. And Les Jones calls a hold. And it's going to go against Justin Hartfield of Mars Hill, his first, team's first. We're less than 30 seconds in, just 25 seconds into the second half, 54-29 Wolfpack. Dorn inbound, sideline left, far sideline to Johnson. Johnson uses a Yurtseven screen, driving, jump pass into the corner to Dorn. Now outside behind the arc, right wing to Bass, left-hand dribble drive down the lane, kicks it in the corner to Johnson, cross court to Dorn for 3 from the right wing, off the front rim, no good. And Hartsfield rebounds for Mars Hill. Hartsfield gives it away to Moore, brings it into the front court from right to left. Pack with that extended pressure, man-to-man defense. 20 to shoot. High post pass to Daniel. Backdoor pass to Hartfield. Almost threw it away, but Hartfield caught up with it, and he controls the ball in the right-hand corner for Mars Hill. Out to Vernon Jackson behind the arc. Drives around Dorn to the basket. Has it stripped away out of bounds. And did it touch Jackson last? No.
If the big guy catches the ball in the elbow, and you're the defending the perimeter player on that side of the floor, if you overplay, you can count on a backdoor cut. They got that one in the first half.
6 to shoot for Mars Hill. Here's Powell to inbound from near the left corner. Throws it to the top of the key to Moore. Driving, now turnaround, fadeaway jumper. Missed the works, out of bounds. It'll belong to Mars Hill. It went off a State player on the way out.
Yard 7 got a hand on it. So only 1 to shoot, though. That ball did not hit the rim.
And it'll be Moore to trigger it in. Baseline left. So only 1 to shoot. They'll just basically have to lob it to the rim. Here's Moore looking, sends it to the wing for a jump shot. Blocked away by Markel Johnson. The shooter was Matthew Powell. It's a shot clock violation.
Had a block.
And the Pack gets the ball.
He had a block to Markel Johnson's impressive resume tonight.
He's doing it all tonight. 54-29, Pack with the ball in the lead. Here's Johnson off a Yurt 7 screen, driving, top of the key, weaving his way to the basket. Left-hand layup, no good. Tipped in by Yurt 7. 56-29 Wolfpack. Minute and a half into the first half. Length of the floor drive by Charles Moore, and he's picked near the top of the key by Batts, who goes the other way for a left-handed layup, no good. And he hits the deck hard, and we've got a whistle and a foul. And it's going to go on Vernon Jackson. That'll be his first, team second. And this will send LeVar Batts to the foul line. Now, we had Cat Barber here a few years ago, Tony. He was one of the fastest players in all of college basketball, the quickest, I should say. They didn't call him Cat for nothing, but I'll tell you what, LeVar Batts is really quick.
He sure is, and he knows only one speed. I mean, he is Mr. Turbo. He plays fast, he plays quick. What I really like is you can tell he has a certain joy out on the court. He loves being aggressive, which makes him a perfect fit for NC State.
Batts knocks down both free throws. He's got 6 points, and it's 58-29. Mars Hill against backcourt pressure. They get it into Daniel to the sideline on a flip to Hartfield, and he'll work it across the timeline. Al Freeman guarding Hartfield. 20 to shoot. Hartfield between the rings, straight away, deep near the timeline. Bounce pass right sideline to Moore. Moore guarded by Dorn. Left-hand dribble drive into the lane, off balance, shot up, and it rims out, no. And I think they're going to get Dorn for a reach. It will go against Torrin Dorn of State, his first, and that'll be the first team foul against the Wolfpack. Are they going to call it a shooting foul? Yes, they will. So Charles Moore will go to the line. He had 4 first-half points, 74% foul shooter last season for Mars Hill. Kind of a spark plug for this team. Not a great shooter, but a pretty good slasher, and he hits the first free throw. Mars Hill was 6-22 last year, 4-18 in that really tough Division II South Atlantic Conference. They made a coaching change in midstream, and the coach that finished out the season, Vic Fenora, is the coach for this season. Pack inbounds after the made free throw, and the pass is picked off down underneath the Pack basket by Vernon Jackson. 6 turnovers for State. Ahead to Hartfield. Shovels it back to Jackson for 3. Left wing over Yurt 7. He missed the works. Saved inbound. Nope. Daniel not able to save it. On the right baseline, it'll belong to State. 58-31. Wolfpack, 17 minutes and 52 seconds left to go in the game. It was a 25-point Wolfpack lead at the break. Mars Hill steals the inbounds pass, going to the basket. Jackson hard, puts it up, missed it. Dorn tried for the block. He got the body, and that's another quick foul on Torrin Dorn, his second, team second.
Torrin Dorn and Markel Johnson trying to talk it out. Torrin was the inbounds passer. He thought Markel was going to come back towards the ball, and he did not, and that allowed the defender to kind of get around him and step in front and steal that basketball.
Pack's done a good job on Vernon Jackson tonight. He is Mars Hill's #1 returning scorer and their most athletic player. He averaged more than 11 points a game last season. He was held to 3 so far tonight. He hits the first free throw. The first of 2. That makes the score 58-32 NC State. The Lions 6'4" junior, Vernon Jackson, studies for the second one, lets it go, and it's good. 58-33 Wolfpack. Mars Hill pressing. Here's Markel Johnson working it across the timeline underneath to Dorn, hooks it up, glass and good. Dorn got that ball in the middle of the lane, moved to his left and threw up a hook shot over his shoulder and got it to go. 60-33 Wolfpack, 17:20 and change remaining here at PNC Arena. Here's Hartsfield, left wing, down low to Daniel. Daniel muscles up a hook shot, good over Yurtseven. That was quite a battle down low, and the true freshman beat the sophomore Yurtseven. 60-35. Pack breaks the press. Dorn almost lost the ball, but it deflects to Al Freeman, sideline right. Freeman with 20 to shoot. Freeman crossover dribble, drives to his right, jump pass to Yurtseven. Free throw line jumper, rattles in. Yurtseven with 12, and it's 62-35 Wolfpack. Mars Hill throws a half-court pass. They get it to Moore. Down the floor to Daniel. Daniel underneath. Hook shot good over Yurtseven again.
Well, he's got a nice left hand around the bucket, and that allows him to get those shots up over the 7-footer.
62-37. Wolfpack with the ball on the lead. 16:40 remaining. Johnson driving against what looked like a zone, but it's not very good. Ball goes into the corner. Jump shot up good for three by Torn Dorn. 65-37 Wolfpack. 16:27 to go. Mars Hill fast breaking it down the floor to an off-balance Hartsfield. And he tried to throw a pass into the corner to Jackson, and on the pass he was knocked to one side. And a whistle and a foul is blown on NC State's Al Freeman. That'll be his second, team's third. And I think they're going to call that a foul on the floor. So Mars Hill will trigger the ball in. Yurtseven leaves, and Leonard Freeman is back in. So two Freemans on the floor for State, Al and Leonard. Mars Hill inbounds. Here's Charles Moore, the backup point guard, who's played a lot at that position tonight. Has it sideline left, guarded by the 6'6 Dorn. So he's got 5 inches on Moore, who drives into a double team. Underneath for a left-hand layup, good by Daniel. Daniel's 3 for 3 this half. He's got 16 points. And it's 65-39 Wolfpack. Just under 16 minutes to play. Here's Markel Johnson bringing it up the floor from left to right. Curls around his defender, Wilson. Maintains the dribble, top of the key. Drives down the lane. No look pass to Dorn for 3. Good from the left side. Dorn's 3 for 4 here in the second half. He's got 2 threes this half. Mars Hill inbounding against State pressure. They break it. Wilson across the timeline has it raked away from behind by Johnson into the hands of Freeman. Freeman gets it away to Batts. Batts, no look pass to Al Freeman. Jump shot in the air for 3, no good, right side. And the rebound pulled down by Bennett Wilson for Mars Hill. Wilson down the floor to Moore. Moore stops, foul line. Either tried to go up for a shot or a pass. And he's fouled right there. And we've got a timeout. Let's see who the foul is on. I think it's on Torn Dorn, but we'll have to wait and see when we come back. If it's on Dorn, that's his third. 15:23 remaining second half. Time out on the floor. We'll take it with him with a score. State 68, Mars Hill 39. You're listening to Wolfpack Exhibition Basketball on the NC State Wolfpack Sports Network.
Great measure of defensive activity for NC State. Pack has 10 steals in this game. Anytime you get upwards of double-figure steals, that's a good defensive stat, and NC State has used those steals to convert turnovers into points. 68-39 with 15:23 to go.
Foul before the break was on LeVar Batts. He checked out. Sam Hunt in, trying to inbound as Mars Hill. The Pack deflects the inbounds pass out of bounds. So the Lions will try it again. 15:22 remaining, 68-39 Wolfpack. Pack led by 25 at the break. The lead is 29 right now. Here's Moore getting it into Daniels. Back to Moore, who curls to the top of the key. Gets it away to Wilson. Drives around Freeman to the basket. Lays it in. Bennett Wilson with his first basket. And it's 68-41. 15 minutes and 7 seconds remaining. Full court pressure by Mars Hill. And Dorn throws it away to Wilson. Underneath to Vernon Jackson. He lays it in.
That's twice Torn Dorn's turned the ball over against pressure here in the second half. Mars Hill picking up full court.
And now Freeman almost had his pocket pick, but a foul is called in the backcourt on Justin Hartfield of Mars Hill, his second. And that'll be the team's third. So the Wolfpack will get the basketball. Just under 15 minutes to go and a 68-43 lead in this lone exhibition game of the preseason for the Pack. Dorn to throw it in against pressure. Gets it into Markel Johnson. Johnson back to Dorn. Dorn breaks the press. Dorn on the drive, kicks it away to Al Freeman. Jump shot in the air. Good for three from the right side for Al Freeman.
That's why Dorn effective after the inbounds pass. He can get up the floor and create opportunities for his teammates.
Mars Hill with a mid-court pass to Hartsfield. Hartsfield drives the basket, leaves it off for the cutting Vernon Jackson. He tried to dunk, but he missed it and was fouled. He went down hard. The foul is on Leonard Freeman. That's his first, team's fourth. And Mars Hill's Vernon Jackson will go to the line for 2 free throws. Jackson with 7 points out of Savannah, Georgia, a junior. Maybe the most athletic player on this Mars Hill team. The #1 returning scorer, counted on for about 10 to 12 points a game. We've seen tonight he can run the floor very, very well. He misses the free throw. He was 68% from the line last year. And he'll get another. He's got the most colorful shoes on tonight of anybody, I think, on the floor. They're neon yellow and black. They're two-toned.
I like it.
With gray soles. Here's the free throw good, so he got the second one. You can't miss him. It's good for play-by-play announcers, too. Anything that's distinguishing. Pack baseballs it down the floor. Al Freeman has it right wing. Freeman drives, fires up a runner, off the glass. No. He was going up against Jared Evans, who we saw in the first half. And then Moore came over to help, and Charles Moore gets whistled for the foul for Mars Hill, his first. That'll be the 4th team foul on Mars Hill. The Pack with 5 team fouls.
This is close to the type of lineup that Coach Keats was utilizing last year, UNC Wilmington. You got 4 perimeter players around 1 big. The lone big is Leonard Freeman. And all 4 of those perimeter players, Freeman misses the first free throw, but when you got Freeman, Dorn, Hunt, and Johnson, all 4 of those guys can attack the bucket off the dribble. And they spread you out, and it can be very difficult to defend. Dorn going to take a seat now, and who is it? Hunt's checking into the game.
Darius Hicks is in the ball game. Second free throw good for Vernon Jackson, and 72-44. Mars Hill inbounds, 14:25 remaining. Pack with a big lead. And here's Charles Moore, who's played the bulk of the minutes at point guard tonight. Came into the game as a backup. Right wing to Vernon Jackson. Now in the corner, the ball goes to Williams, who started this ball game at point guard and is now kind of the combo guard. 11 to shoot. Williams has it deep on the right side, guarded by Markel Johnson. 8 to shoot. Here's Williams driving into the lane, throws up a runner off the glass. No. Rebound tipped outside where Wilson gets it. His pass to the wing picked off by Al Freeman. Freeman on the drive to the basket, lays it up, missed the shot. Rebound inside. Freeman saves it underneath the basket, but he saves it to Mars Hill's Wilson. Wilson driving all the way into the lane, shut off by Markel Johnson. Kicks it outside to Charles Moore. Moore with 21 to shoot, now backs it out. 72-44 Wolfpack, about 13.5 minutes remaining in the game. Here's Wilson, backdoor pass to Evans, reverse layup, no good for the big guy. And trying for the block was Leonard Freeman. He missed that and got the body. Second foul on Leonard. That'll be team foul number 6 on the Wolfpack. And going to the line for 2 free throws. His first opportunity to score tonight. Jared Evans, a 6'7" redshirt freshman out of Charlotte, a backup center who's been injured here in the preseason. Just got well for this game. Here's the free throw up, and it rims out.
Yeah, they cleared out the left side of the floor, ran a little pick and roll there, and Evans came off free when he set that screen. Bounce pass coming right to him, just couldn't quite finish at the rim.
Bats in, Al Freeman out for State as Jared Evans gets set for his second free throw. With the Pack leading 72-44, shot in the air, no good. Leonard Freeman with a rebound. 13.5 minutes remaining. Outlet to Johnson. Here's Markel Johnson down the right side. Johnson tried to drive toward the right elbow and double dribble the basketballs. He got a little bit out of control. 9 turnovers now for State.
And I think only the first for Markel Johnson. Pretty good for him. He's had the ball in his hands a lot tonight.
72-44 Wolfpack against full court pressure. Here's Williams getting it into Wilson. Bennett Wilson, 5'10" senior out of Newberry, South Carolina. Moves it across the timeline. Sam Hunt on him. Wilson right wings it to Vernon Jackson. Now outside to Moore. Charles Moore controls at the point with 13 to shoot. Extended pressure, man-to-man defense by State. Now to Williams with 8 to shoot. Williams against Markel Johnson. Gets it away to Evans. Shot in the air just inside the arc. Left wing is an air ball. Sam Hunt picks it out for State. Outlet pass to Johnson. Johnson up the left sideline for the Wolfpack. Off a screen for Freeman. Drives to the top of the key. Rises, has the ball raked away by Wilson. That's going to be a foul on Bennett Wilson of Mars Hill, his second, team's fifth. And LeVar Batts lost his shoe and was without that for 2 possessions. And now he finally picks it up as we have play stopped and just flips it on. I think he better retie that thing or it's going to come off again.
There's a little quick random ball screen in transition. Leonard Freeman popped out, screened Markel Johnson's man, who really didn't know that Leonard was there, and the defender went under, and that gave Johnson an opportunity to try to pull the trigger on a mid-range jumper. Defender recovered and got a piece of his arm.
We're going to give Johnson 2 free throws. He misses the first. Evans and Jackson check out. Brandon Watkins is back in for Mars Hill along with their good-looking freshman postman, Nazir Daniel out of Fayetteville. Here's the second free throw. Good by Markel Johnson. So he missed one, made one. 14 points for Markel. Here comes Al Freeman back in the game as Markel Johnson will go to the bench for State. 73-44 Wolfpack, 12:43 to go. Full court pressure by the Pack. Running the baseline. Here's Wilson getting the ball in to Charles Moore. Moore will bring it up. He's a left-hander against Sam Hunt. Works it across the timeline. Shot clock down to 21. Here's Moore. Long bounce pass, right wing. Gets it to Williams. Williams will pull it out deep on the sideline. Now against Al Freeman. Gets it right of the lane to Daniels. Daniels turns, fires on Freeman, who blocks the shot. Leonard Freeman blocked it. It deflects out to Moore, who shoots a 3 from the right side. No good. Leonard Freeman with a rebound. Outlet pass to midcourt to LeVar Batts. Batts on the drive to the basket, throws it up off the glass. No, he banged into 2 Mars Hill defenders on the way to the hole. And one of them is going to be whistled for a foul. I think it's either going to be Brandon Watkins or Jalen Williams.
KG defense on the other end by Leonard Freeman. And you've seen the big guy, Daniel, tonight turn over his right shoulder. He likes that left-handed hook. And Leonard Freeman recognizing that and kind of banking that away in his memory. He overplayed that turnover the right shoulder that time, and he knew that Wilson was going to try to put that ball up with his left hand, and he was in a great position to block the shot, and that's exactly what he did.
Batts missed the free throw. He's 4 out of 6 from the stripe. Foul was on Brandon Watkins, his third, team's 6th for Mars Hill. Second free throw by State's LeVar Batts goes in. He's got 7 points, and it's 74-44, Pack by 30. Full court pressure, almost a pick off by State. But the ball is advanced to midcourt to Watkins, and then he throws it away. So Mars Hill turns it over again, and we have a timeout. It's been a turnover fest for the Lions tonight, and the Pack leads by 30. 12 minutes to go in this lone preseason exhibition game. As the 20th turnover for the Lions. 74-44, Wolfpack leads Mars Hill. Timeout on the floor. This is the Wolfpack Sports Network.
And this has been a fast-paced, up-tempo game. Both teams are pressing. An early season test for Roger Ayers, Les Jones, and Dwayne Gladden. We're finding out what kind of shape they're in, and they've done a nice job.
And it's a test for the broadcasters too. Very, very up-tempo game. How about Markel Johnson, a double-double, 14 points, 11 assists, 6 steals tonight. Pack inbounds out of the timeout. Zone defense, 2-3 by Mars Hill. Here's Batts with it, left wing to Al Freeman, drives left baseline. Now he's shut off, brings it back out on the perimeter to Batts, top of the key with 7 to shoot, drives to his left, up for the jumper, got it.
Nice little move, stepping inside that 2-3 zone defense, found a little space, and soft jumper by the freshman.
Mars Hill inbounds against pressure. Here's Bennett Wilson bringing it up the floor. It's knocked away by Batts, loose, and a foul. It's going to go on Wilson trying to get the ball back. He knew that Batts was going to get it. It was going to be a dunk. So that'll be the 3rd foul on Bennett Wilson and the 7th team foul on Mars Hill. So this will put the Pack at the line. Batts will go there for a 1-1 free throw opportunity.
Well, Batts and Markel Johnson have just terrorized with their ball pressure tonight. Their tremendous defense. First steal for Batts, but the steal numbers continue to mount for the Pack. That's 12 now in the game.
Free throw on the way for Batts. It's off to the left, no good. Pack hasn't shot free throws very well tonight, but maybe that's a little first game jitters. 76-44, Wolfpack, 11-14 remaining. Mars Hill with the basketball. Here's Watkins with it, deep on the left side, guarded by Darius Hicks, packing the pressure man-to-man, really extending the defense. Ball goes out to backup point guard Charles Moore. Moore between the rings, driving all the way to the right side of the lane, shut off by Batts, holding the ball, shot clock at 3, gives it to Watkins, tried to drive the baseline, ball raked away, shot clock violation.
Well, there goes my prediction in the pregame. I said we probably wouldn't see a shot clock violation, right? We do. LeVar Batts.
We've actually had a couple of them.
Yeah, LeVar Batts did a good job of getting over the top of that initial ball screen, kind of breaking up the initial action.
Pack with the ball in the front court and a 76-44 lead. Here's a long bomb by Sam Hunt, very quick into the shot clock from the left side, no good. Rebounded by Mars Hill with a basketball Moore into the front court, drives the foul line up for the jumper, good. Charles Moore with 8, and it's 76-46. Pack by 30, 10.5 minutes left here at PNC Arena. The Pack's only public tune-up game. Had a private scrimmage against Campbell a while back. Here's Batts driving, free throw line, stops, pops, misses. Rebound Williams for Mars Hill. Williams on the drive, long pass down the floor to Daniels. He fumbles it, gets it back, puts it up, shot blocked away from behind by Darius Hicks. Hicks whistled for the foul, his first, team's 7th.
I'll tell you, Daniels, pretty good player, isn't he? He's shown us something tonight. He's made a couple of those left-hand hooks, and that time, athletic big guy running the middle of the floor on their break. That's a tough bounce pass for a 6th player to reach down below the waist and catch that ball, and he did a pretty good job.
Daniel at the line, first free throw too hard. Well, this guy was obviously Division I material because Air Force wanted him, and he picked Mars Hill over Air Force, so that was a really good get for the Mars Hill team. Now, Leonard Freeman, Batts, and Hicks leave the lineup. Al Freeman checks back in. Dorn and Yurtseven. So State making a 3-for-3 substitution. Second free throw by Daniel, no good. Yurtseven with a rebound. And here comes State from left to right. Here's Johnson on the power drive. Tried to throw it ahead to Dorn. Knocked away by Watkins. Out of bounds underneath the basket. Baseline left. 10:06 remaining. Pack leading by 30. And in for Mars Hill comes Luke Van Ryn, the three-point shooter out of Australia, and Watkins will sit down. Johnson to trigger it in for State. Johnson throws it for Freeman. A 50-50 ball knocked away at midcourt. Wilson's got it. Wilson down the floor. Fast break layup. Missed the shot. Rebounded by Al Freeman. And here comes State the other way. Pack dodged a bullet right there. Here's Freeman in the front court. Left wing to Johnson. Left corner to Dorn. Drives the baseline. Kicks it to Freeman. Freeman, top of the key. Driving. Shovels to Yurtseven. Jams it. Nice drive and dish. And Mars Hill inbounding. He almost had the inbounds pass stolen away. Here's Moore with it. He'll bring it up the floor against Sam Hunt as the pressure dissipates. Moore with 9.5 minutes to go and 18 to shoot. Drives it to the right against State's man-to-man. To the foul line, and Daniel driving, lost control of the basketball. Lost it out of bounds at the baseline. Another turnover. I've got Mars Hill with 23 in the game. And the Pack will get the basketball.
You got it, 23. NC State continues to be active. And Kevin Keats using what bench he has and trying to keep all these guys fresh so they can keep the pressure on.
9:18 remaining in the game, 78-46. Wolfpack with the ball on the lead. Sean Kirk is now in the game for State. Dorn controlling, sideline right. Now to Johnson to the point. Johnson wants motion. Here comes Yurtseven out to screen. Ball goes to Dorn. Now to Kirk. They reverse it left side to Johnson with 10 to shoot. Johnson fakes right, goes left. Up for the jump shot. Good. A 15-footer off the dribble by Markel Johnson. That shot was created. He's got 16 points, and it's 80-46. Pack's got its biggest lead with 8:50 remaining in the game. Here's Bennett Wilson across the timeline for Mars Hill. Stutter step drive. Gets around Sean Kirk. Layup good with the left hand for Wilson. His second basket. And it's 80-48, 8:39 remaining. Johnson in the front court for State. No backcourt pressure that time by Mars Hill. 20 to shoot for the Wolfpack. Here's Johnson just yo-yoing the basketball deep left. Driving now to the foul line. Leaves it off for Freeman. Straight on. 3 on the way by Al Freeman. Too strong. Tip no good. Dorn with a follow-up and in. 14 points for Dorn. Timeout State. 8:19 remaining, 82-48 Wolfpack. Pack led by 25 at the break. This will be a full timeout. We'll take it with them. This is the Wolfpack Sports Network.
next time NC State gets on this floor for a game, it'll be a game that counts against BMI a week from tonight.
Mars Hill's had only 3 field goals since the 14:43 mark. And it's an 82-48 Wolfpack lead. Mars Hill inbounding against full court pressure. Ball goes to Hartfield, who checked in during the timeout. Now away to Wilson. Long pass down the floor to Daniel. He's got it right wing. Clears it away to Williams, the starting point guard. Left wing to Van Ryn. Van Ryn, a catch-and-shoot three-point shooter from Australia. Gets it away to Wilson. Drives left baseline. Bangs into Yurtseven. And they're going to call Omer Yurtseven for a block as Wilson went bouncing out of bounds off Yurtseven. Yurtseven with his 3rd personal foul. That'll be the 8th team foul. That'll be a foul on the floor. We should have Wilson going on the line for a 1+1 when we come back. Exactly 8 minutes remaining in the game. State 82, Mars Hill 48. This is exhibition basketball on the Wolfpack Sports Network.
Interested to hear what Coach Kevin Keats thinks about this exhibition game? Well, if so, you can join us for the postgame show. We'll have Coach Keats with us, get his comments. NC State on its way to a victory in this exhibition game. 82-48 lead over Mars Hill. We still have a ways to go, though. 8 minutes left. And we'll see how Coach Keats decides to play it here down the stretch. Looked like last few times down the floor he wanted to slow it down a little bit and maybe work on some half-court offensive execution. We'll see if that continues.
Foul before the timeout was on State, and so Bennett Wilson, 5'10" senior guard for Mars Hill, to the line for the 1-on-1. Free throw up, good. He swished it. He's got 5 points, all here in the second half. He's a junior college transfer in his second year at Mars Hill. Here's the free throw up. It's off the rim, no good. And it's rebounded by Van Ryn. Van Ryn gets it in the corner to Hartsfield. Drives the baseline, puts it up over Sean Kirk window and got it. Hartsfield with 5. And here's Markel Johnson blowing up the floor. Lobs for Yurtseven, missed the dunk. Rebounded by Daniel for Mars Hill to Hartsfield. Down the floor to Wilson. Wilson driving, finger roll to the basket, missed it. He slammed into Sean Kirk, and I think Kirk's going to be charged with a block.
I think Kirk was his first. Yeah, he's in pretty good shape there. He had his feet down, but he probably was in that restricted area. That's why he was called for a charge. It's tougher and tougher with that arc around the bucket to draw those charges as a secondary defender these days.
Wilson back to the line again, 1 for 2 tonight. Here's the free throw. High arcing shot is good. Wilson, you can tell, is more of a blow-by-blow slasher than a perimeter shooter. He's a returning starter for this Mars Hill team. And lets this second free throw go, and he got it. 7 points for Wilson, 82-53. Wolfpack with the ball in the lead. Full court pressure by Mars Hill. Here's Johnson feeling a double team, throws it across the timeline to Kirk. Left baseline to Yurtseven. Yurtseven whips across court pass, deflected by Williams into the hands of Al Freeman. Shoots, and he missed the 17-footer, no good. Rebound Williams, long up the floor to the streaking Hartsfield. Fast break layup, blocked away by Markel Johnson. Into the hands of Kirk. Down the floor to Dorn. Dorn lost it, got it back under the basket, saves it in bounds. No, he didn't. He stepped on the baseline, says official Les Jones. And the Pack turns it over. Wow, what an exciting block there at the other end.
Markel Johnson has been fabulous across the board tonight. I mean, this style of play relies on exceptional athleticism, and Markel Johnson has just that.
82-53 Wolfpack over Mars Hill. Lions inbounding, full court, 7:14 to go. Full court pressure by the Pack. They get the ball into Hartsfield. Now the pressure dissipates. Hartsfield against Dorn, up sideline right into the front court. Hartsfield switches hands, 20 to shoot, 7 minutes remaining. Pass on the wing, almost picked off by Johnson. Williams gets it, drives to the basket, slashes in from the left side, throws it up with the left hand, missed it. And a foul on Sean Kirk. His second, and that'll be the 10th team foul on the Wolfpack.
I think State's getting a little worn down right now. You know, NC State came out with such energy in the first half. As we mentioned, you're not going to be able to sustain that throughout a game, especially with a shorter bench here. But what happens when you start getting a little tired, you don't move your feet as well. You play a little more straight up and down instead of staying in a stance. And that's when you start getting called for fouls. And all of a sudden, Mars Hill is getting to the line a lot more.
Jalen Williams goes to the line for 2 and makes them both. Point tally now says 4, 82-55. Wolfpack with the ball in the lead. Markel Johnson breaks the press, drives to the foul line underneath the Dorn. Layup good. Dorn cut in from the right baseline. He was wide open. 16 points for Dorn. It's 84-55 State. 6:48 remaining.
They'll try to trap the inbounds pass. Nope, now they're going back to their man-to-man, trying to deny the point guard here.
Ball got away, and here's Wilson to trigger it in. Gets it into Williams, back to Wilson, behind the back dribble to get away from Markel Johnson. Now Dorn comes to try and swipe the ball, but misses. Now outside, it's Hartsfield. Hartsfield drives, gets it away to Williams, drives down the lane against Al Freeman. Layup missed it, and Freeman with a rebound for State. Here's Al Freeman on the dribble drive. Freeman underneath the Dorn, layup good. Dorn, nice job running the floor and getting ahead of the pack. Dorn's having a fantastic second half of basketball. He had 4 points in the first half. He's got 18 now with 6:16 remaining. They feed the post to Daniel. Daniel goes up and charges into Dorn.
You talk about Dorn in the second half, man. Terrific defense, that time drawing the charge. Now Mars Hill wants to talk about it.
That's 18 fouls on Mars Hill. Nazir Daniel on the charge, his second personal. And timeout. Mars Hill, this will be a 30-second timeout. 6:14 left to go in the game. 86-55 State. Tomorrow it's 5th-ranked Clemson and number 19 NC State at Carter Finley Stadium. If State wins, it stays in control of its own destiny in the ACC Atlantic Division race. Matthews Motors countdown to kickoff begins at 1:30. Kickoff is at 3:30, and they've got the ESPN Radio's game day out there in front of the Murphy Center. You got the Nissan Heisman House set up out in front of PNC Arena. It's going to be a great atmosphere.
Big show tomorrow over at Carter Finley Stadium. And it will not be 38 degrees. Hallelujah.
Yeah, it should be in the 60s.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a really nice day tomorrow. And one of the biggest games that's been played at Carter Finley Stadium in a long, long time. Should be stellar atmosphere.
And will probably come down to just a handful of plays.
Yep.
Sean Kirk will trigger it in for State against full court pressure. Almost threw it away. Al Freeman gets the ball. Trying for the steal was Hartsfield, and he committed the foul. That'll be his third, team's ninth. So we'll walk the other way for one bonus free throws for NC State. Pack leads 86-55. 31-point lead with 6:13 remaining. Pack led by 25 at the break. Checking into the game now for Mars Hill is a number we don't have on our roster.
Hey, when that happened.
I do too. Here's the free throw up by Freeman. Good.
Well, what a pickup for Coach Keats in the late going to add a guy like Freeman, because you got a young backcourt, and now you throw Freeman in the mix, a guy who's played a lot of college basketball, stabilizing force for NC State.
So Freeman makes them both. He's got 17 points. And here's Mars Hill with it. Hartsfield gets the inbounds pass near midcourt, streaks to the basket, tried to put up a shot, blocked away by Yurtseven. And down goes Hartfield. And Yurtseven whistle for the foul, his fourth, team's 11th. So Hartfield will go to the line for 2. Every time I see that name, I want to say Hartsfield because of the Atlanta Hartsfield Airport. We're there a lot. But it's Hartfield. What I'm trying to do is look for this mystery number here, and it doesn't show up on the Lions roster. So we'll just call him Mr. X. Here's the free throw, up good by Hartfield.
Is that 20?
Yep.
Uh-huh.
But there is none on the Mars Hill roster. There's a 30, Brandon Reeves.
Yeah.
It might be him, but we don't know that. Here's the second free throw. It's up and it rattles in. So Hartfield with 7 points. Full court pressure. Pack breaks it with a pass. Kirk to Sam Hunt. 5:59 to go in the game. 88-57 Wolfpack. Here's LeVar Batts with it. Off the screen by Yurtseven. Streaks to the basket. Unloads to Kirk. Layup good. Kirk saw him coming. He was on the right baseline, went right to the basket, got the pass, and laid it in. First 2 points for Sean Kirk. Ball gets away after the basket and careens all the way out to midcourt. This gives the Pack a time to set up its press.
Yeah, Yurtseven sent a little flat ball screen that time. And what that allows Batts to do, he doesn't have to go side to side. He just comes off that flat ball screen on either side of Yurtseven, and then he's just going downhill to the bucket.
Mr. X triggers it in, gets it into Williams. In for State, Darius Hicks, and out Omer Yurtseven with his 4th foul. 5:37 to go. Here's Williams pushing off, throws it left corner for Van Ryn. Van Ryn drives underneath the Daniels, shot blocked away, loose ball on the wing, and a whistle blows.
Sean Kirk, a high riser for another block. That's a double-figure blocks now for NC State in this game, 10.
Van Ryn with the foul for the Lions of Mars Hill, his first, team's 10th. So now the automatic bonus is in effect. 2 free throws on every Mars Hill foul the rest of the way. LeVar Batts going to the line for 2. Batts has been a little spotty at the line tonight, but he has played well in a lot of other areas and hits the first free throw off the back of the iron. No good. 90-57 Wolfpack, and State get 100. 5:29 remaining. I would say the chances are very good. Here's a second free throw by Batts, and it rattles in. So he gets 1 out of 2. 10 points for LeVar Batts unofficially. 91-57 State. Brandon Reeves is wearing 20 for Mars Hill as Hartsfield gets the ball, drives the lane, left-hand layup off the rim, no good. Rebound deflects out of bounds, left corner, and it'll belong to State. So Brandon Reeves, a 6'4" freshman from Belmont, is no longer Mr. X. 5:14 remaining, 91-57. NC State with the ball in the lead. Here's Batts into the front court, guarded by Hartfield. Batts will drive around a screen by Hicks, drives down the lane in traffic, lays it in. Wow, man. He did everything. He spun, he did a figure S, he changed hands, and he got the layup. Coming the other way is Reeves from Mars Hill. Right wing to Van Ryn. Van Ryn driving. Underneath left block for Daniel as it raked away out of bounds on the left baseline, and off of Daniel it'll belong to State. Another Lions turnover. Now the Pack's going to clear the bench. 6'10" senior Tucker Thompson out of Huntersville, North Carolina. Walk-on practice player will come into the game.
That is the bench.
And well, they've got Spencer Newman on the roster, but I don't think he's dressed for tonight's game.
Hey, you mentioned Reeves and called him Mr. X. We know he was. You remember that old TV show, What's My Line? You had to guess who the person was?
Yeah, the mystery guest.
Yeah, the mystery guest.
Here's Batts off the inbounds, driving top of the key, away to Sam Hunt, left wing. 4.5 minutes to go. 93-57 Wolfpack in this exhibition game. Now here's Reeves trying to body up with Hunt in front of the Wolfpack bench. They collide, and the whistle blows. Foul on Brandon Reeves of Mars Hill. That's his first. The Lions over the 10-foul limit. So the Pack will go to the line to shoot 2 with Sam Hunt. Hunt, a very good shooter, started 30 games at North Carolina A&T, led the team in scoring at almost 13 points a game last season, and hit 74 three-point shots. This guy is a deadly foul shooter. He only missed 5 out of 79 last year.
Good guy to have on the floor late in the game.
You betcha. Here's the second one, almost automatic, rattles it in. 95-57, Wolfpack within 5 of the century mark, 4.5 minutes to go. Across the timeline is Van Ryn. The Australian, top of the key, left wing to Watkins, who's back in, puts it on the floor with the right hand, hands off to Brandon Reeves. Reeves drives the lane against Dorn, puts it up, and Hunter Thompson blocks the shot. Down goes Reeves, and a whistle blows. I think just ball out of bounds. Clean block. Let's see.
That's a foul.
Nope, it's going to be a foul on Tucker Thompson. That's a tough break. But the Pack's up 95-57 with 4:13 remaining, so I don't think anybody's going to get too hot over that.
Yeah, you don't think that's going to be a big momentum changer in this one?
You're right. Yeah, now they're going to say Dorn came over on the help defense and committed the foul on that block, and that's his 4th personal foul. Free throw is up and good by Brandon Reeves, so he gets his name in the scorebook. 95-57, or 95-58. Pack leads Mars Hill here in the waning moments. Second free throw, no good. Rebound, Tucker Thompson, the practice player for State, to Batts. Batts flies down the floor from left to right. Now he backs out left wing with 4 minutes remaining. The Pack needs 5 to hit the century mark. Here's Batts backing up against Williams. 16 to shoot, they're clearing out. Here's Batts driving, blows by Williams. Stops, pops, and it's no good. And the ball apparently ricocheted out of bounds, or somebody touched on the baseline. And it'll be State ball when we come back. 3:53 remaining, time out on the floor. 95-58. Wolfpack leads Mars Hill. Exhibition basketball on the Wolfpack Sports Network.
We will probably do the station ID right before we go into the post-game break.
Final moments here, PNC Arena tonight. Exhibition hoops. All NC State. Pack leading Mars Hill 95-58. 3:53 remaining. Fantastic game from Markel Johnson here tonight. Listen to these numbers. Double-double with 16 points, 12 assists, just 2 turnovers, 5 steals, 6 of 9 from the field. And you think about Markel Johnson last year, he was playing behind one of the best players in the country, Dennis Smith Jr., and he had to wait his turn. But, you know, obviously Dennis went to the NBA, doing very well up there. But now it's Markel Johnson's team. It's his opportunity to be the man. And tonight, he's done everything you could ever want a point guard to do and more with the numbers that I just laid out for you.
Correction, out of the timeout, Mars Hill will get the basketball. 33 points on 25 Mars Hill turnovers tonight for the Wolfpack. Mars Hill with the basketball. Here's Williams with it. Bounces it into the right-hand corner to Brandon Reeves. Reeves back to Williams. And it looks like the Pack's playing a little bit of zone here. Ball goes down low to Van Ryn. Van Ryn unloads to the cutting Williams, who misses the layup, and the State gets the rebound. Outlet to Batts. Batts brings it up the floor with 3:28 to go. Batts away to Darius Hicks. Hicks puts it on the floor, tries to spin to the basket, lost the basketball, now picks it back up left wing and clears the Batts with 14 to shoot. Henderson screens for Batts, he rejects it. Now he drives to his left, gets it away to Dorn with 9 to shoot. Dorn left wing, knifes his way into the lane, fires up a wild runner, no good, he was bumped. And a whistle and a foul. I believe Jalen Williams will commit his 3rd foul, and that is the call. Mars Hill over the 10 foul limit. 2 shots anyway. You cut it here for Torn Dorn, who's had a marvelous second half. Dorn, if he knocks down both of these free throws, he'll have 20 points in the game.
Yeah, 14 of his 18 points here thus far in the second half.
Free throw up off the back iron, no.
And what was encouraging early in the half, he hit a couple of threes. State ran ball screen action, and Torn's defender had to cheat off him, helping on the roll man on the weak side of the floor, and they kicked it to Torn. He's able to knock those shots down. It's going to be important for somebody on the perimeter, a couple of guys for this NC State team to step up and be able to make some threes this year.
Dorn's second free throw is good for Mars Hill. David Elkins in for the first time. Jared Evans and Vernon Jackson join him off the Mars Hill bench. Dorn now with 19 points, 96-58 State. 3 minutes remaining in the game. State with a matchup zone defense. Let's see if they try to trap out of it. Ball goes to the corner to freshman David Elkins. He drives, kicks it left wing to Brandon Reeves, another freshman. Now into the corner for Jackson. 3 ball in the way, and it rattles in. Vernon Jackson with 11 points, his second 3 of the game, and it's 96-61. Wolfpack with the ball in the lead, 2:35 remaining. Batts against the 2-3 zone. Right wing to Hicks. He'll rise, fire for 3, and he hit it over Jackson. How about that?
Yeah, maybe Hicks will be the guy to step up and make 3s, huh?
Hicks with 5 points, his first 3. 99-61. The Pack 1 point away from the century mark. 2:17 remaining. Here's Charles Moore with it. Against the zone, gets it away to Reeves. Long bomb for 3. Good for Brandon Reeves. He's got 4 points now off the bench here in the late minutes of this game. 2 minutes remaining. 99-64 Wolfpack. Zone defense by Mars Hill. Bats surveys the situation with 20 to shoot. 1:56 remaining. The next basket would put the Pack over the 100 mark. Bats looking. David Elkins, the freshman, guarding him. Bats gets up ahead of steam, drives the basket. Left-hand layup good by LeVar Bats. 14 for Bats. Mars Hill coming quickly the other way with Charles Moore. 101-64 Wolfpack, 1:36 remaining. Here's Moore getting it in the corner for Jackson's three ball from deep on the right side, no good. Deep rebound comes off to Darius Hicks. The Pack is running. Dorn to Hicks. Right corner to Sam Hunt. Three ball on the way. Got it. Hunt with a three out of the right corner. 11 for Sam Hunt. Fast breaking the ball down the floor is Mars Hill. They get it to the freshman David Elkins. He's fouled in front of the Mars Hill bench by Bats, who was trying to come up with a late steal.
State shooting 63% here in the second half. 58% for the game. Pretty strong.
104-64. Pack by 40 points with 1:16 remaining. Freshman David Elkins out of Weaverville, North Carolina, goes to the line for Mars Hill and hits the free throw.
Weaverville, where's that? That's got to be out west. Huh?
Yeah, I think it's way out west somewhere up in the mountains. Dorn sits down. Kurt comes in.
Beautiful up there this time of year, boy.
It leaves be a turning. Here's the second free throw good. 104-66. Pack owns the basketball and the huge lead of 38 points. 109 remaining. Here's Bats into the front court. Just as he gets across the timeline, where the left sideline meets the timeline, he just stands there and pounds the ball with David Elkins close to him. Shot clock down to 11. Elkins better give him room. Here comes Bats. He puts it in first gear. Down the floor he goes. Fadeaway jumper. Good from the left side by LeVar Bats. A shot created by Bats off the dribble. 106-66. Here's Reeves. Has his pocket picked in midcourt. Deflection to Hunter Thompson. Thompson down the floor to Hunt. Back to Thompson. Thompson lost it underneath. Regains it. And he scores. Tucker Thompson scores. And it's 108-66. Thought he was going to lose that ball out of bounds. He had his back to us and picked it up and went back up and got the shot. And we have a timeout. And we will keep it here and pause 10 seconds for station identification as the Pack has its largest lead of the game with 32 seconds left. 108-66 over Mars Hill. This is the Wolfpack Sports Network.
$35 points for NC State off of 26 turnovers and 12 steals as well for the Pack. Been a while since we've seen a number like that. That's a great activity on the defensive end of the floor, and it's been anchored by LeVar Bats and Markel Johnson up top. And their pressure started right away. First possession of the ball game when they created a turnover and a dunk for Leonard Freeman, and it hasn't let up very much. So good showing tonight for the Pack. You want to come out of one of these exhibition games with some confidence, feeling like you accomplished some of your goals. I'm sure there'll be some teaching points along the way, though, when they watch the film. But I think overall you got to feel good about what NC State was able to accomplish here tonight. The defense was active. They started to make some shots here in the second half from the perimeter, which is nice. And 108 points up on the scoreboard.
Tucker Thompson got the last Wolfpack basket on the stick back, and right as a timeout was called, Leonard Freeman jumped off the bench, ran out to midcourt, and high-fived Tucker Thompson, who he plays against a lot in practice, as Thompson, one of the walk-on practice players. 108-66, Pack playing zone. Mars Hill working it around the perimeter, 13 to shoot, 18 to play. Here is Charles Moore driving the lane, runner up over Thompson, no good. Fight for the rebound inside. Tucker Thompson's got it as it raked away from behind. Whistle blows, backcourt foul. So this will send Thompson at the line for two as Mars Hill is over the limit, so the automatic bonus is in effect.
Looked like a 3-2 zone, little point zone there by NC State. Sean Kirk, the middleman up top, so he gives you that wingspan, 6'7", 6'8", you like to have when you're playing that type of defense. Makes it a little more difficult, move the ball from side to side. Well, Tucker Thompson doing a nice job here in the game.
Foul on David Elkins of Mars Hill. Thompson at the line, swishes the first free throw. He'll get another one. First foul on David Elkins. 109-66 Wolfpack, 10.3 seconds remaining. Thompson's second free throw. It's off the back of the iron, no good. Fight for the rebound. Pulled down by Matthew Powell. Gets it away to Charles Moore for Mars Hill. Moore into the front court against the zone. Outside to Elkins for a 30-footer for three. No good at the horn. And that is the ball game. Final score here at PNC Arena as the Wolfpack winds up preseason. State 109, Mars Hill 66. Pack got off to a great start in this game. Less than 5 minutes in, Pack had a 17-2 lead with 10 points off 5 turnovers and never let up. I think the closest Mars Hill was able to get the rest of the way was 14 points with about 9 minutes left in the first half. Pack led by as many as, I believe, 40 points in this game and wins 109-66.
State shot 59% for the game and was active from the outset. And now you watch this game tonight. Now you know why Kevin Keats came in and told these guys they got to give them shape, because you have to be in incredible condition to play this style of basketball, to swarm on defense the way NC State did, push the ball up the floor constantly. And there are going to be some guys tonight who played 30 minutes plus in this game at this hectic tempo. But we saw at the end what kind of condition they're in. Pretty good, well-conditioned basketball team to continue playing the way they did over the last several minutes.
Pack wins by 43, 109-66. The exhibition season over. And next Friday night at 7, the Pack will open up the regular season against VMI. We hope you'll be with us as Wolfpack basketball in the Kevin Keats era will ramp up and the games will count. Final score 109-66. Stay tuned next for the Duke Energy post-game report. This is the Wolfpack Sports Network.